I should have known the night would go sideways the moment I walked through those overpriced glass doors. The place was crawling with fake smiles and champagne breath. Corporate people clinking glasses like they actually liked each other. My wife, Jessica, had told me it was just a formal dinner at her firm. Nothing exciting, she said, rolling her eyes like I was annoying her just for asking. But when I got there, I froze. There she was, Jessica, my wife, mother of our twins. Wearing a short red dress she said she threw away months ago because it was too much for a mother. Sitting on her boss's lap like she forgot who she married. Her heels dangled in the air as she laughed with her head thrown back, fingers tracing his neck. Her wedding ring flashed under the crystal lights, mocking me. I didn't shout. I didn't lose it. I walked straight up to them. Her boss, Cole Matthews, regional VP and serial sleazebag, grinned like he owned her. Well, the babysitter made it out, he said, eyes scanning my cheap blazer. I didn't blink. Your kids are at home, I said, my voice colder than January. And you're here cheating, dancing on your boss's lap? Jessica turned her head toward me and smirked. I swear, she smirked like I was a joke. Security, she purred, still sitting on him. Throw him out. Don't wait for me at home, Jason. I laughed. Just once. It was the kind of laugh that comes from something deeper than pain. You serious right now? I said. You're really doing this here? Cole shoved me lightly in the chest. Get out, loser. She wants a real man. And that's when it snapped. I'm not proud of what happened next. But I won't apologize either. The bodyguard stepped forward, big guy, bald head, face like a stone wall. I moved before he touched me. Years in the Marines don't fade. One elbow, his front teeth scattered like broken dice across the marble. He groaned and fell like a felled tree. The second one hesitated. Mistake. I twisted his wrist, slammed his head into a nearby table. Glass shattered. People screamed. Champagne flutes clattered like alarm bells. Jessica screamed too, but not for me. What the F*** is wrong with you? She shrieked, standing now, grabbing her purse like she was the victim. What's wrong with me? I hissed, breathing heavy. I worked double shifts to pay for your car. I missed my brother's wedding cause the twins had the flu, and you were on a spa retreat with your girls. I trusted you. She didn't look sorry. She didn't cry. She crossed her arms and said the words I'll never forget. I compared you to my ex-husband once in an argument, and you packed your stuff that night and vanished. Maybe you should have stayed gone. I stood there, chest heaving, blood on my knuckles, shame in my mouth like metal. Then I turned and walked out. No more words. No more begging. Just like that, I disappeared from her life. But don't think for a second that this was over. This was the beginning of something much darker. Because betrayal like that? It demands a reckoning. I drove all night after leaving that party. Didn't even go home. Just kept pushing the gas like I could outrun what I saw. But nothing numbs the image of your wife on another man's lap. The sun was creeping over the horizon when I finally parked in front of my brother Ryan's place. He opened the door half asleep, took one look at my face, and without asking a single question, just said, "She did it, didn't she?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. The next few days were a blur. Rage and disbelief wrestled inside me constantly. I'd sit with the twins, Caleb and Mia, watching cartoons while trying not to let my hands shake. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop replaying that moment. Her laugh, that smug grin on her boss's face. And then something clicked. This hadn't started at that party. No, that was just the moment the curtain dropped. The signs had been everywhere. I just didn't want to see them. Like how she started wearing perfume to grocery runs. Or how her phone suddenly had a password. She used to leave it lying around like a coaster. Now, it was always face down. Always locked. And if I asked why, she'd snap, "You don't trust me?" God, the gaslighting. She stopped initiating intimacy months ago. "I'm tired," she'd say. Or, "The kids wore me out." But now I realized it wasn't exhaustion, it was disgust. She didn't want me anymore. I remembered the way she'd flinch when I touched her shoulder, how her eyes would roll when I tried to plan date nights. And the biggest red flag? The business trips. 3 in the last 2 months. One in Miami. One in San Diego. One, allegedly, in Boston. She came back glowing. Literally glowing. And when I asked her what the trip was for, she waved it off like I was a child. "You wouldn't understand, Jason. It's just office politics. Bullshasters tea." I bet she wasn't attending any meetings. Not the kind that happened around a table, anyway. Fueled by anger, I made the decision to dig deeper. The first thing I did was check our shared credit card account. She never used her personal one for anything sketchy. She wasn't dumb. But she must have slipped up. And there it was. A luxury hotel booked for 2 nights in San Diego. Room service for 2. Champagne. Spa treatments. A single red rose ordered to the room. I screenshot everything. Then I opened her laptop. She never logged out of her emails. That was her mistake. Inside was an unsent draft. Just sitting there, like it was begging me to open it. I can't stop thinking about the way you grabbed me behind the elevator. It's wrong, but it feels so right. I love Jason, but with you, I feel alive. I slammed the screen shut. Alive? She felt alive cheating on the man who held her hair back while she vomited through morning sickness, who sold his guitar to pay for Caleb's surgery, who loved her even when she didn't deserve it. That was the moment the pain turned into something else. Not hate. Not yet. Clarity. She made her choice long before that party. And now I had to make mine. I grabbed my phone and hit record. Then I opened the laptop again and read the email out loud. Slowly. Clearly. I was going to keep every receipt. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was war. 3 days after the party, I walked through the front door like a ghost. It still smelled like her favorite lavender candles. The kids' shoes were by the staircase. Their drawings were stuck to the fridge. A home pretending everything was normal. But nothing was normal anymore. Jessica came in 10 minutes later, dressed in one of her tight work skirts, fake concern plastered across her face. She froze when she saw me. "You're back," she said, voice cautious. I didn't answer. Just placed the printed emails, hotel receipts, and screenshots on the dining table. Her eyes flicked down, then back up. "What's this?" she asked, but her voice was already defensive. "You tell me," I said, leaning against the counter, arms crossed. "Go ahead, Jessica. Read it out loud. Especially the part about how he makes you feel alive." She didn't touch the papers. Just stood there, arms folded, like she was the one betrayed. "You went through my emails," she snapped. "You violated my privacy?" I almost laughed. "Privacy? You're lucky I didn't walk in on you two mid-thrust." Her lips curled into a sneer. "Oh, grow up. Not everything revolves around your fragile ego, Jason." That hit harder than a punch. But I didn't flinch. I refused to give her the satisfaction. "You lied to me. You danced on another man's lap at a company event. You've been screwing around during fake work trips. And now you're playing the victim." Jessica sighed dramatically, as if I were exhausting her. "Fine. You want the truth." She walked over to the table and flipped through the papers with her manicured fingers. "Yes, I cheated. Yes, it's been going on for months. And no, I'm not sorry." I blinked. "Not sorry." She actually rolled her eyes. "Jason, you stopped being a man years ago. You became this boring, predictable routine. Work, kids, sleep. You never touched me like you used to. Never made me feel wanted." I could feel the heat behind my eyes, the shaking in my hands. I was busy raising our family, holding this damn house together while you were playing hooky with your boss. She gave a bitter little laugh. "Cole treats me like a queen. He doesn't come home smelling like oil and stress. He doesn't nag me about groceries or fall asleep in front of the TV like some suburban zombie." "Wow," I said softly. "You really are something else." She crossed her arms, lifted her chin. "I'm done pretending. If you want to leave, leave. But don't act like you're some saint in this. You stopped trying. This marriage died long ago." "No, Jessica," I said, stepping forward. "You killed it. With every lie, every text, every fake excuse." She didn't back away. "So what now? You gonna cry? Break something? Hit me?" I shook my head. "No, I'm not like your boss's hired muscle. I don't need to break things. I just need you to know, everything changes now." "What's that supposed to mean?" I didn't answer. I walked past her, upstairs, and into our bedroom. I opened the safe, pulled out the folder I had prepared, bank account numbers, passwords, legal contacts. I grabbed the burner phone I'd bought. When I came back down, she was on the couch, pretending to scroll her phone, pretending not to care. "I'll be sending divorce papers this week," I said. "I'll fight for the kids. You can keep the lies." She looked up, smirking. "You think they'll want to live with you? Good luck." That was the moment I stopped loving her. Not because she cheated, not even because she lied, but because she looked me in the eye, after everything we'd been through, and still believed she was the hero of this story. She had no idea what was coming next. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I couldn't, but because I refused to. Lying in the guest room, I stared at the ceiling, listening to Jessica move around the bedroom we used to share. Her footsteps. The occasional click of her phone screen lighting up. Her soft laugh at God knows what or who. It was like sleeping in a haunted house, every sound a reminder of what used to be mine, now corrupted. I didn't cry. I wish I had. Tears might have helped. Instead, my chest felt like it was filled with wet cement. Everything heavy. Every breath a struggle. Around 3:12 a.m., I heard a knock on the door. I didn't answer. She came in anyway, wearing one of those silky robes she only ever put on when she wanted something. "I didn't mean for you to find out like that," she said quietly, leaning against the doorframe. I didn't look at her. "You mean, you didn't want to be embarrassed?" Her tone shifted, sharp, defensive. "I didn't plan this, Jason. It just happened. Don't insult my intelligence." She scoffed. "God, you act like I'm some monster." I sat up slowly. My voice was calm, flat. "You are." Her face twitched. "You don't know what it's like to feel invisible in your own home. Every day, I woke up next to a man who was emotionally dead. You gave me nothing." My hands clenched the sheets. "I gave you everything." "No," she snapped. "You gave me duties. You gave me chores. You gave me father of my kids' energy, not husband energy. You mean I gave you stability while you chased thrills behind my back?" Her mouth opened, then closed. She had no comeback. "I know about the Miami trip," I said. "You weren't with coworkers. You were with him." She turned pale. Finally, a flicker of guilt. "You even took his calls in the bathroom. Remember that? You'd forget to mute." I heard enough. "Jess. Jason, please." "No. Stop." I stood, walked past her, and stared down at the hallway. "You made your choices. You don't get to stand here now and play the abandoned wife." She moved toward me, maybe to grab my hand, maybe to cry. I'll never know. I stepped back. "Don't," I said. "You don't touch me anymore unless it's to stab me in the back. And you've done enough of that." Her voice cracked for the first time. I was lonely. So was I. I roared, spinning around. But I didn't run into someone else's arms every time life got hard. "You think I didn't feel invisible? You think I didn't notice when you stopped laughing at my jokes, when you sighed every time I tried to kiss you?" We stood there in silence. Her lip trembled. Mine bled. I hadn't even noticed I'd bitten it. Then she whispered, "I don't love you anymore." And that was it. No dramatic fight. No screaming match. Just that one sentence, clean and final. She left the room, her footsteps quieter now. I sat down, alone in the silence. She didn't love me anymore. But I realized something as the door clicked shut behind her. I didn't love her anymore either. And that truth? It was the first real breath I'd taken in days. The next morning, I woke up early, even though I hadn't slept more than a couple of hours. My body felt heavy, like it was dragging every moment of the last few days behind it. But my mind? Crystal clear. I had made my decision. There was no fixing this. No therapy, no counseling session, no grand gesture that could undo the damage Jessica had done. She wasn't sorry. Not really. She had said it all herself. She felt alive with someone else. Not with me. So now, it was my turn to feel alive. I made coffee, not for her. Just one cup. Sat at the kitchen table and stared at the photos still hanging on the wall: family vacations, birthdays, Caleb's first lost tooth, Mia's first day of school. And in every one of those photos, I looked proud. Tired, but proud. Jessica looked posed. Even in the happy shots, I could see it now. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. While I sipped my coffee, she finally came downstairs. Same robe. Same stone-cold face. Like the words she whispered the night before meant nothing. "So what now?" she asked flatly. "I already told you," I said. "Lawyers drafting the papers. You'll be served soon. I'll fight for the kids. You can keep the house." Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, how generous of you." I set my mug down. "I'm not being generous. I just don't want anything soaked in your perfume or your lies. I want peace." She laughed bitterly. "Good luck finding peace living in your brother's garage." And just like that, her true colors kept bleeding through. No remorse. No gratitude. Just venom. I smiled calmly. "Actually, I'm not going to Ryan's." "Oh? You moving in with your mistress?" She spat. The irony almost made me laugh. "I don't have one. I was too busy working 2 jobs while you were too busy getting off in hotel rooms." Her jaw clenched. But I didn't stop. "I've been setting up a new apartment. Signed the lease yesterday. It's closer to the kids' school. I'll file for primary custody." "You're out of your mind if you think they'll give you custody," she said, crossing her arms. "They need their mother." I leaned forward, my voice low and controlled. They need stability. They need someone who doesn't disappear for weekends of team building and come back smelling like a stranger. For the first time, she didn't respond. Just stared at me like she was trying to figure out how I'd slipped out of her control. I didn't owe her an explanation, but I wanted her to know one last thing. I didn't walk away because I was weak, I said. I walked away because staying would have destroyed me, and I won't let you have that kind of power over me anymore. With that, I walked upstairs, packed the last of my things, and came down holding the duffel bag she used to borrow for yoga retreats that were probably never yoga. As I opened the front door, she spoke again, quiet this time. They'll hate you. One day, they'll grow up and hate you for leaving. I turned to her, the morning light cutting a sharp line between us. No, I said. They'll grow up and know that their father chose truth over comfort. And maybe one day, when they ask why we're not together, I'll show them the receipts. I walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't slam the door. Some bridges don't need to be burned. They collapse under the weight of their own lies. The apartment was small. 2 bedrooms, no view, carpet that crunched a little under your steps, but it was mine. The first night I spent there, surrounded by unopened boxes and cheap furniture, I sat on the floor and let the silence wrap around me. It wasn't peaceful at first. It was loud, deafening. Not the kind of silence you find in nature. This was the kind that screamed everything you didn't say, everything she didn't say. The kind that made your skin crawl with thoughts that started with what if and ended with you weren't enough. I checked my phone. No new messages. Of course not. Jessica hadn't texted, hadn't called, hadn't even pretended to care that I was gone. It was like I'd been deleted. I ordered cheap takeout, ate half of it, and left the rest on the counter. I wasn't hungry. My stomach had been in knots for weeks. I looked in the mirror later that night and realized I'd lost at least 10 pounds. My face looked hollow, older. I'd been dying inside while she was out there glowing in red dresses, sipping cocktails on balconies. But even in the middle of that emotional wreckage, there was a tiny ember of clarity. I was free. Not healed, not okay, but free. That night, I didn't cry. But I did something worse. I remembered. I remembered the first time I met her. Jessica was electric back then. Eyes full of challenge, lips always curled in a half-smile like she knew something I didn't. She made me feel alive. Back then, I thought she was complicated. Now I know she was just selfish dressed in charm. The first year of our marriage? Pure bliss. The third? Distance. The 5th? Suspicion. The 8th? Lies. And the 9th? That was the year she stopped pretending. My mind wandered to the twins. Caleb and Mia. My whole damn world. How was I supposed to explain to them that their mother traded love for lust? That she gave up a family to feel alive in hotel rooms? That their father was the one cleaning up the emotional fallout while she danced away without consequences? I knew I couldn't. Not yet. But I would. The next morning, I started putting pieces of my life back together. Slowly. Carefully. First call, my lawyer. Second, child psychologist. Third, Caleb and Mia's school. I asked about after-school activities, parent-teacher meetings, any updates. I wanted them to know their father was going to be present. I spent that week filing paperwork, signing things I never thought I'd have to sign. Divorce. Custody requests. Bank closures. Each document felt like a shovel full of dirt burying the life I thought I had. By Friday, I got the first text from Jessica. The kids are asking where you are. I told them you needed space. I didn't reply. The next one came an hour later. Don't make this uglier than it has to be. That one made me smile. Coming from the woman who had security throw me out of her office party, that was rich. I put my phone down and stared out the window. The view was just a brick wall, but it was honest. Unlike her. That night, I slept a little better. Because I knew something she didn't. The silence she tried to punish me with? It wasn't punishment. It was peace. By the second week in the apartment, Jessica finally realized I wasn't playing her game anymore. She went from silence to control tactics real fast. I'd been expecting it, honestly. I knew her too well. She'd never let anyone walk away from her without trying to pull the strings one more time. The first move was subtle. A video call request at 7 p.m. sharp. That's when she usually put the twins to bed. She knew I missed them. She was counting on it. I answered. Caleb's little face lit up. Dad, are you coming home tonight? My chest cracked, but I smiled through it. No, buddy. But I'll see you this weekend, remember? We're gonna hit that new arcade. Mia jumped into the frame. Can we get ice cream too? You bet. Chocolate swirl. She nodded fast, her pigtails bouncing. Jessica stood in the background, arms crossed, face unreadable. I noticed her phone was propped up perfectly like a damn movie set. And her makeup was done, too. Red lipstick. Hair curled. Like she was trying to project this perfect mom image. She was trying to build a case. After the kids ran off, she leaned toward the screen. "You're really going through with it," she said coldly. "I am. You're going to drag our family through court? Is that what you want?" I didn't flinch. What I wanted was a loyal wife. You made that impossible. She rolled her eyes, the performance slipping. "Jason, don't be dramatic. It was just a mistake." I interrupted. Don't reduce months of lying and sneaking around into a single word." She leaned back. "You've always been this way. So black and white. No nuance. No compromise." I chuckled. "Nuance? Jess, you were literally bouncing on your boss's lap at a work event. There's no gray area there." That ended the call. She didn't message again until 2 days later. This time, she wasn't wearing lipstick. This time, she was mad. "You're going to ruin your reputation. People at my job are already talking." Cole's furious. I stared at that text for a full minute before typing back. "Tell Cole to get a new lap dancer. I'm not coming to your rescue." I expected another insult. Another wave of gaslighting. Instead, she went quiet. But not for long. The next morning, I got a call from my bank. "Sir, we've noticed some large transfers from your joint account." That's all I needed to hear. I froze. My heartbeat slowed, then roared. Jessica had started moving money. Fast. I got in my car, drove to the branch in person, and closed what was left of the joint accounts. Moved everything into my new one. Froze credit lines. Locked down every access point I could think of. The moment I left the bank, she called. "What the hell are you doing?" She barked. "Protecting myself." "You're being vindictive." "No, Jessica," I said quietly. "I'm being smart. Something you clearly thought I couldn't be." She screamed and hung up. That night, I opened a new email account, created a secure file, uploaded every screenshot, every receipt, every message, every dirty hotel booking. This wasn't revenge. It was insurance. Because I knew Jessica wasn't done. Not even close. And when someone like her starts to lose control, they get desperate. I could feel it coming. The storm hadn't passed. It was just getting darker. I knew Jessica wasn't done. She had too much pride, too much venom in her blood to let me walk away clean. So when the legal papers came back stamped, confirming the divorce process had officially started and that I'd filed for primary custody, that's when she struck. It started with a visit from CPS. Yeah, that low. A social worker knocked on my door one morning, saying they'd received an anonymous concern about the environment in my apartment. Allegedly, the kids weren't safe with me. Allegedly, I had violent outbursts. I invited her in, offered coffee, gave her a tour of the place. Sparkling clean. Children's books stacked neatly on the shelf. Their bunk beds made up and untouched, because Jessica hadn't let me have them overnight yet. I showed her every grocery receipt, every photo. I even handed over a glowing reference letter from Caleb and Mia's school principal. The social worker nodded slowly, clearly seeing through the garbage. "We'll file a standard report, Mr. Pierce. It's protocol. But from what I've seen, you're doing just fine." I knew exactly where the anonymous concern had come from. Jessica. And I was done playing nice. I didn't call her. I didn't yell. I let my lawyer handle it. He sent a formal notice that if another false report was filed, we'd be pursuing legal action for defamation and harassment. Her response? She finally cracked. 2 days later, she showed up at my apartment. No warning. Just her, pounding on the door at 10:30 p.m. like she was owed something. I opened it halfway, locking the chain. "Where are the kids?" she demanded. "At your house. It's your night. I want to talk." I didn't move. "We said everything we needed to. You're ruining everything. You made me look like the villain." I stared at her, stunned by the level of delusion. "Jessica, you were the villain." Her face twisted. "I made a mistake. That doesn't make me evil." "No," I said. "What makes you evil is still sleeping with him even after I walked out. What makes you evil is dragging our kids through your mess and calling CPS just to win an argument." She actually looked shocked. Like it hadn't occurred to her I'd figured it all out. "You were supposed to chase me," she muttered. "You were supposed to fight for us." That hit me like a truck. The audacity. "No," I said slowly, my voice cold. "I fought for years. You just didn't notice. Because you were too busy undressing for someone else." She blinked. No tears. Just disbelief. "I want my family back," she said. softer now. I messed up, but we were happy once. I shook my head. No, I was happy. You were pretending. I closed the door in her face. Not out of anger. Not to hurt her. But because I had finally reached the place she never expected me to reach. Closure. The next morning, I took the twins out to the park. We had ice cream. Caleb climbed a tree and got stuck. Mia insisted on pushing me on the swings instead of the other way around. We laughed. A lot. And for the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for the next blow to fall. I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't drowning in what-ifs. I was just living. And that was the real revenge. Not shouting. Not violence. Just surviving without her. Thriving without her. And letting the weight of her choices be hers to carry forever.